New Moon in Scorpio, Exploring Soul Desires. On November 13th, 4:27 a.m. Eastern Time, we experience a new moon at 2043 foot of the sign of Scorpio, an invitation to explore our soul desires and deepen our relationship with our unconscious, with our shadow self. This lunation closes the eclipse portal. It is the first new moon that isn't an eclipse since eclipse season began, a month ago, with the new moon solar eclipse in Libra. Nevertheless, we are entering another transformative and revolutionary lunar month. The Scorpio new moon will be more impactful for those of us who were born with planets or angles around the 20 degrees of fixed signs. The individuals personally impacted by this new moon will be more likely to experience opportunities to make drastic, radical changes and begin an entirely different chapter of their lives. They will be asked to leave an old identity behind and may need to release their attachment to something to make space for something new. New Moon in Scorpio, Embracing Impermanence. New moons correspond to the start of the lunar month. They bring an energy of renewal and renovation, they mark new beginnings, and they invite us to plant seeds and set intentions for the weeks ahead. On a new moon, the sun and the moon are together in the same zodiac sign. Technically, we say that they are forming a conjunction, which is a 0 degrees angle from our perspective on Earth. The moon is still invisible from here. This encourages us to deepen our self-reflection before the momentum starts rising again. She is soon becoming visible again, and we are about to enter a time for spontaneous action and exploration of our impulses. When the moon is in Scorpio, our emotional experiences become more raw, intense, and visceral. Scorpio correlates with soul evolution and soul desire, with emotional and psychological transformation, with all death and rebirth journeys. The archetype of Scorpio is connected with processes of decay and decomposition. This sign reminds us of the necessity of death within the cycle of life, and that decomposition of matter ultimately creates fertile soil for life to begin again. The Scorpio new moon calls for a renewal of our relationship with change and with the inherent impermanence of the world of form and matter. This event reminds us that all transformational processes imply a death of some sort. Journey into the unconscious. Scorpio and its modern ruler Pluto are associated with soul desires, with the desires and evolutionary intentions that led our soul to choose to incarnate again. Differently from conscious desires, which stem from our ego and in astrology are associated with Mars and Aries, soul desires are unconscious and drive our choices and decisions without our awareness. A new moon in Scorpio represents a fresh start in our shadow exploration journey. This event brings us on a journey into our unconscious, into our shadow self, and invites us to explore our deepest soul desires and discover the true motivations and intentions behind our actions and cravings. The upcoming lunar cycle will offer us opportunities to observe our relationship with the nitty-gritty of life, with everything raw and unpleasant, with what we normally don't see or don't want to see, which also includes the gifts and qualities we possess and we haven't yet consciously developed. This new moon in Scorpio is an invitation to try to access the deepest desires and motivations that move us, rather than remaining trapped in an endless cycle of trying to satisfy surface-level desires while remaining unaware of what is going on within us and underneath it all. New moon conjunct Mars and opposite Uranus, revolutionary energy. This new moon in Scorpio is tightly conjunct with Mars, the ancient ruler of Scorpio, and opposite retrograde Uranus in Taurus. This configuration marks the beginning of an intense, transformative, and revolutionary lunar month. The alignment of the Sun, the Moon, and Mars opposite Uranus in Taurus suggests that there are increased probabilities of experiencing unexpected and unforeseen events, and these may offer us opportunities to gain more awareness of how to maturely deal with intense and uncomfortable emotions. Both Mars and Uranus are potent event catalysts. They both want freedom, independence, and change, and they are ready to fight for it. They are also very fast, unpredictable, and impulsive planets. These qualities are going to color the upcoming lunar cycle, which will be a time of accelerated growth. This configuration indicates that these days and weeks are likely to be filled with potentially disruptive and surprising events that could propel us toward the future at the speed of light before we even have time to understand what's happening. Around this time, many of us will be able to access the courage needed to break free from stagnation, from inaction, from victimization, and from disempowering situations. Some of us may live this process vicariously or feel forced to experience some kind of loss, separation, or change, and may have a hard time seeing the purpose of it in the present moment. Many of us are going to experience breakthroughs and aha moments. Many of us are going to feel that this is it, this is enough, and decide to cut cords with the old ways, separate from the past, and let go of something that is no longer true and authentic in their lives. New Moon trine Neptune and sextile Pluto, facing our shadows with compassion. The Sun, the Moon, and Mars in Scorpio are forming a trine to retrograde Neptune in Pisces and a sextile to Pluto in Capricorn. These are harmonic aspects that support our intuition, our adaptability to change, and our ability to see the deeper meaning and purpose of what we are going through. The activation of Pluto, the modern ruler of Scorpio, facilitates the journey of building new internal and external structures that can support the transformation that is taking place. We can no longer rely on the old ways, old protection mechanisms are not working any longer, we must face what we have been avoiding, and to do so we need to be strong enough, resourced enough, and supported enough. Neptune's influence inspires us to access a sense of compassion for both ourselves and others and to be gentle with ourselves as we go through a period of massive change and restructuring, both on a personal and on a collective level. If we are going through especially challenging times, it may be helpful to stop doing as much as possible and bring our focus inward, prioritizing feeling, grieving, and healing for a while. New Moon in Scorpio, exploring soul desires. Even if eclipses are over for now, the transformation they instigated continues to unfold. The upcoming weeks will offer us opportunities to, once again, observe our relationship with change and impermanence and invite us to explore our true desires and motivations. The Scorpio new moon encourages us to make needed, radical changes in our lives, changes that we might have been postponing for a while already as they feel highly uncomfortable. We are going through a time of accelerated growth and increased evolutionary pressure, and this requires us to stay flexible and open to things unfolding differently than we imagined. Change is going to happen anyway, with or without our participation. It doesn't matter how hard we try to resist it or grip onto what feels comfortable and secure. This upcoming lunar cycle is a favorable time to ask ourselves if the way we are investing our energy is contributing to our empowerment or not. Reflect on what power is and what power is not, and recognize what we have the power to change, and what instead we cannot change, no matter how hard we try. These days and weeks, we will have chances to observe how gracefully we can release what has lost its purpose, without needing to destroy the past or making it wrong, but simply acknowledging that our lives have changed, that we have changed, that situations have changed, as it is natural and inevitable. Crystal pick for New Moon in Scorpio, Charoite. This swirling purple stone is associated with Scorpio energies, as it's a crystal of the divine feminine that instigates deep personal transformation in your life. It's the perfect stone to use for this new moon in Scorpio if you're ready to do some deep trauma healing and shadow work, to help you repossess what has been repressed or shunned within you, and allow for all the lessons to be integrated. Charoite is a beautiful stone for reflection and helping you see what needs to be released in your life in order for you to grow. Use it to help you allow old parts of your identity to fall away so you can step into your strength and find more acceptance and compassion for every part of you, and every experience that had a hand in shaping who you are today. A beautiful crystal for empaths, healers, and those who tend to take on the emotional energy of others, Charoite helps you create healthy energetic boundaries so you don't give all of yourself away. It's protective and balancing for your emotional energy when you're dealing with pain, grief, or overwhelm, and can help you make clearer decisions around the next move to make, guided by the divine wisdom of your intuition.